we're on week 4 of the watercolour project, last week of the project. So far we've had a look at some basic watercolour washes and then tried out a couple of landscape projects. So that's the sort of image I was working on last week from this photograph here. And some people are still working on that, which is absolutely fine if you still need more time on that. I thought this week I would demonstrate a little bit using still life objects, which I thought might be quite a nice lead into next month's project, which is a still life project. For any of you that fancy having a go at still life, obviously not on compulsory, but if you fancy still life as a subject.
Still watercolour.
Yeah, we'll do watercolour this week, but next month, as in next week, whatever medium you want to use. So probably my demonstrations will start off with a bit of drawing for maybe a week or two, and then I'll go into painting, with whatever mediums people want demonstrated. So with these ones, I was thinking, I was thinking it might be quite an idea to just have a go at practicing painting just single objects. So again, my intention is that with the watercolour project to start simple and stay simple till you've kind of really mastered it and feel confident with it. So I was thinking either a mushroom, well the demo will be a mushroom or a pear. So this is a mushroom I've sketched now. So I'll do a little paint on that. And that was this morning's demo. I found that it's quite warm in here, so the paint was drying quite quickly. So I actually started with the inside, but I'm thinking possibly it might be better to start with the sort of paler colours. So I've got a little bit of beigey brown, maybe a little bit of yellow mixed in with that. It's just getting a colour for the very light bits. I'm thinking perhaps a tiny bit of red in that too, it's slightly pinky. And just making sure that I mix plenty of paint. Most of you are getting the hang of it now, but one or two people are still painting very dry. So I find that, to make a little puddle in the corner of the palette, looks nice. So with this one, I'm just going to pop that over the border of the mushroom, time being, and then the middle I can go back into. So this would represent the lightest area, so I can see. And we'll just lift a little bit out, where it's very light, just on the rim here. Lift a little bit of colour out there. And then we've also got some shadow areas. So some of the mushroom, the side of the mushroom is in shadow. And going while it's wet, and we need to get this in quite quickly. Just make that a tiny bit lighter. Just let some of those colours mingle. Just soften that out around there. Hiya, Charles. And then there's a little bit of shadow in there. This side. And then probably at that stage I would let it dry, because I don't want too many really hard edges. So I'll just do a little bit more of the other one at the start. So the nice thing about working on maybe a couple of little paintings of single objects is while one's drying you can go on to the other one. So this one I actually started with the middle bit, so I just want to put some of these, I could have done a demo on there actually, couldn't I? So right in the very middle, and then use a slightly finer brush. Just try and get some of these. Little lines that go across, and just breaking up the texture a little bit in there. So this particular brush comes to a nice point, so you get some fine lines. stronger in there. And quite like to, I ended up with a hard red there earlier to make all that a little bit darker and that soften it out. So that would be that area, and then I can let that dry and then paint this outside bit. So it's building up in stages, one bit at a time. So that's the mushroom. And do a little bit on the pear. So I'll start another one. Another bit of paper. So just from a drawing point of view, I'm not going to worry too much about the drawing, but I'm thinking I'll start it about here and end it about here. It's slightly flat at the end, so I've got a shape that starts to come up, something like that, and rounds off, and then rounds off again, comes in here, then tapers in. So that's roughly the shape I'm seeing. Colours, we've got this kind of pattern or this texture on the skin, and for the time being I'm going to ignore that. And what I want to really just do is kind of half close my eyes and just try and look for any light and dark areas. So unfortunately the lighting in this room is a bit flat, so it's not that easy. But I'll mix it yellow. I think this is a cadmium yellow pale. So just get some of that mixed. Pop that out here. So just getting plenty of paint, plenty of colour mix, strong colour. I tend to just use a little old kind of children's, it's a bit like an oil painting brush, bristle brush that I can just really scrub away the paints there. So I've got a reasonable amount there, I can thin that down a little bit. Maybe a slightly smaller brush, probably do. So I want to get the first wash on quite quickly and know that I can mix a slightly darker wash on ready. So keeping that nice and wet. Like that. And then while it's still wet, I can make it a little bit dark for the shadow areas. I'm just adding a little bit more of the cerulean blue in there. And it seems a bit lighter here, a little bit darker here, and under here. There's a bit of yellow blue as well. And because that paint's wet, I'll get nice soft edges, the paint will just mingle. But as soon as it starts to dry, that's the time to stop. So kind of keep going, working wet and wet if you want to, but that'll be probably about as far as we would want to go. There's a little bit of reflection or highlight where the light is it's just slightly, very slightly lighter there. So if I clean my brush and dry it a little bit, you should be able to just lift a little bit of colour out there for the highlight. I need to do that quite quickly before it dries. And that will be as far as I need to go at this stage. I'll let that one dry. Here's one I prepared earlier this morning. So I could start putting a little bit of the, if I wanted, putting some of this sort of texture, this kind of skin. Hi Louisa, do you want to sit here if you want? Thank you. Yeah. So again, just want to go a little bit brown. I don't want to make it very dark. I've got a slightly brown mix here. Add a bit of brown there. Sort of like a brown yellow. Again, I'll use this brush. And it's just a matter of popping that on really quite quickly so that I can work that in while it's doing. And just roughly trying to follow some of the patterns and textures, colours I can see on the skin. It doesn't have to be absolutely precise, but it will give an impression of the that's kind of what makes this look like a conference pear rather than some other kind of pear. So something like that, and pop something into the stalk. Make that a little bit darker. Blue. So now the only other bit to do is you get this nice shadow on the white of the paper. It's quite nice setting up these fruits on white paper. Otherwise, I've got a lot of colour in watercolour to go all the way around, which is quite a challenge. So if you're up for a challenge, you could do that, but it's easier just on something like a white paper. So yeah, the suggestion would be try a few like this to start with. So if I want to get that shadow in, it's quite a soft edge at the bottom there. So we can just dampen the paper around there a little bit. So clean water. So I've got 2 buckets of water, one slightly cleaner than the other. And then just add a little bit of blue, maybe a tiny bit of red in with my brownie mix. And then a shadow just kind of under here. And then that's coming out here. So it's a softer sort of shadow. That actually touches and then it's come up to there. I'm just trying to follow the shape. And just where it just underneath here, it's just slightly darker. So while that's still wet, I'm just going a little bit stronger just under there. And that'll be it. Yeah, if it's not perfect, it's best to just move on to the next one, rather than keep faffing about and make you look overworked. And sometimes watercolours can look better if you just leave them a little bit underpainted rather than overpainted. Okay, any questions?
Is that a cherry baked one underneath?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
No, it's going to be that. It's going to be mushroom. Could be though, you could turn it into cherry baked one. So that could be one for next when you do a still life project.
Do a cherry baked one.
Yeah, do cherry baked. Okay, so if anybody wants to borrow any of this lot, you're welcome. And as I say, I suggest like maybe just small studies of individual things, and then once you're happy, then maybe we'll put a few things together. Okay.